back to my corner of the internet. Today's a Wednesday, which means I've got another book talk video for you guys. So today I thought I would talk about some of my favorite books that were written by musicians. Aside from books, music is another big passion of mine, so I thought this would be a fun way to sort of do a little crossover and get the best of both of those worlds. So the first book that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is Chronicles Volume 1 by Bob Dylan. Now, this is a beautifully written book, which should come as no surprise considering Dylan is arguably one of the best lyricists of all time. So that translates beautifully into the stories that he's telling in here. Now, the book begins in 1961 when Dylan comes to New York City to begin recording his first album. Now, one of the things I love about this book is it focuses a lot on periods of time when his popularity wasn't at, its all-time high. It starts when he's recording his first album, then it kind of brushes over the mid-60s when he was experiencing some popularity, and then goes to like the 70s and stuff when it was down again. So I found that very interesting, and those are the times that I like to hear about the most anyway. It's a great book for anyone who is a Dylan fan or anyone who's interested in that period of time. You can't go wrong. And it's so personal and from his point of view, and it's wonderfully written. And it has the feel to me that down the road, years and years down the road, this could become an American classic. So definitely something to check out if you haven't already. And if you have, I'd love to hear what your thought about it. So second of all, speaking of talented lyricists, we have Blinking with Fists by Billy Corgan. Now, Billy Corgan was, and well, I guess is still, because they're still putting out albums, frontman for the rock band The Smashing Pumpkins, who were wildly popular in the 90s. And this is a volume of poetry that he released, I believe, like 2010-ish. I feel like I'm blanking on that. Let's check real quick. 2004. 2004, which is actually the same year Chronicles came out. So anyway, this is just a really interesting book filled with poems. It's short, it's easy to read, it's easy to get through, it's fun to analyze, and I would especially recommend this for fans of the band more so than just poetry fans, although, there's definitely merit there as well. But any hardcore fans, well, first of all, you've probably already read it, but if you haven't, definitely check it out. And I fit under that umbrella of hardcore fan, especially in my early teen years, in the mid-90s. I was obsessed. So there you have it. Next up is a book that I found in a bargain bin for like $1 or $2 many years ago, and it's called Nice Work If You Can Get It, My Life in Rhythm and Rhyme, and it's by Michael Weinstein. So we can get it there. This book is amazing. So Michael Weinstein is a musician who grew up in Ohio to entertain her parents. His mom was a tap dancer and his dad was, I can't quite remember what, but like a music teacher or a DJ or something, something in the entertainment industry, in Ohio. And this book talks about his journey from Ohio to Los Angeles, where he manages to get a gig working for Ira Gershwin. Now, Ira Gershwin, if you're not familiar, him and his brother George were composers who wrote some of the most memorable and important songs of the 20th century. So Michael gets a gig working for Ira, and he's sort of becomes his assistant, his archivist. He does a lot of cataloging and archiving, and this book is such an amazing look into the life of Ira Gershwin. And it's told from the point of view of someone who knew them and loved them, both of the, the Gershwin family. And I first read this when I was fairly young. I think I was probably 17 or 18 when I found it in that bargain bin. And even back then, I couldn't put it down. It's such an interesting read. And I think you'd probably you know, anyone who appreciates music, especially fans of the Gershwins, you will definitely find a very interesting story here. Excuse me. And finally, the last book I want to talk about is Wolf in White Van by John Darnielle. Now, John Darnielle is the front man for the band The Mountain Goats, which is an excellent band. And this guy is such a personable presence on social media. So on Tumblr and on Twitter, he's just a joy to follow and even interact with. So this book, this is a little different because this is a straight up fiction novel. Excuse me. And this tells the story of a man named Sean, who's kind of a reclusive game designer. But back when he was 17, he was severely disfigured, his face was. And that's what sort of leads to him being a recluse. So the book is told not in chronological order. It jumps around from when Sean was a kid to his youth and then to present day when he's an adult. And so during his time spent with himself, he designs a text-based role-playing game that you play through the mail, which sounds, you know, a little confusing, but it's explained very well in the book. And 2 high school kids in, I think, Florida began playing it. Their names are Carrie and Lance. And with them playing it, something happens. A disaster strikes, and Sean is called into account for that. And it's just such an interesting story. It's woven together so beautifully. And again, the man's an excellent songwriter, and that just translates so well into this novel. I read this actually when we were on a cruise, and I can remember just sitting when I finished it on the deck and just looking out at the water, and just, I spent, I don't know, maybe an hour just sitting there thinking about it because it was such a good book. And this came out, I think, in 2014. And yes, definitely pick it up if you get a chance. It's a great read. And follow John Darnielle on Twitter or Tumblr if you have one. Anyway, so that's gonna be it for today. I hope you found this interesting. I'd love to know what you're currently reading, so leave a comment down below. And I will see you guys again on Friday. Bye.